Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Earth Station One podcast. That's right, folks. We're back, and we got a great one. We say that every episode, but this is a special one for me every year because this is the episode where we break out the eggs and we basically find out, does Matt have an egg on his face? Does Ashley have an egg on her face? Does Mr. Gordon have an egg on his face? Or do I? We're equal opportunists with eggs on the show, and we usually do. And, I partly think that's why Alex Autry is no longer working with us, because he got tired of wiping egg off his face all the time. But you know what? It's going to be great. We're going to be talking in the first segment of the show. This is going to be a little bit of a longer episode, folks, because in the first segment, we are going to be talking about the summer movie reviews that we did. We're going to talk about, we took picks at the beginning of the summer, talked about what the biggest hits are going to be. What did we like? What did we not like? And this is where we're going to get into, how stupid did we end up looking, or which of us had a smarty cap on their head. And I'm looking at one person completely on it right now. So I have no idea who we're talking about. So it'll be a ton of fun to do. So let me introduce our crew. Of course, this was our summer movie review crew. So let's, of course, say hey to Ashley Pauls.
Hello. I normally say it's always a pleasure to chat with you all, but I've been kind of dreading this one because I feel like, if I remember correctly, I did uniquely bad in my picks for this year. So I'm coming into this with some humility, and I'm ready to laugh and have fun because I think I was a swing and a miss for me this summer.
Gotcha. I feel like I'm a baseball team from Mariners with that one,
Yeah.
So, of course, and then Matt Sweatman's here.
Hey guys, I got some eggs ready to throw at some folks. I don't know how many are coming my way yet, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Did Elaine fry them at least, or did she hard boil some of them? Maybe.
Oh.
She prefers scrambled, but
okay, well, that's understandable. And of course, Mr. Mike Gordon is here.
Howdy. I get a feeling that all the eggs are colored pink.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just got that feeling that not only is it eggs, but pink eggs indeed.
I think we might be finding that out really, really quickly tonight. So I think those pink eggs might be not holdovers from Easter. Ooh, that would smell. But, I think it would be, they could be like peep eggs too, maybe, could be, possibly. Well, we're going to get into it. But we're also going to have a second segment tonight, folks. We are also going to be doing a look at the fall and winter movies. And folks, remember, with the strike going on, and it does not look like it's going to be ending anytime soon. A lot of the studios are hedging their bets, and they're pulling some of the big movies till next year. So it'll be very interesting to see what we got and where we're going to go to. So with that being said, let's take a look at the movies. Summer movies 2023. Mr. Mike, how did we knew Barbie blew everything out of the water. There's no if, whats, or buts about it. And there was no true competition. We were hedging even, earlier, like saying Barbie was going to surpass Mario, and it's done that by light years now and everything. And it has a lot of firsts and everything. Barbie is the highest grossing movie by a female director. And it's just amazing that it blew everyone's expectations, I think. And some people were predicting that it was going to be, but some people were hedging their bets on Oppenheimer. Some people were on Mission Impossible.
I think the big story this summer is Barbenheimer. The fact that this, especially in the wake of the fact that, Barbie and Oppenheimer came out just when the actor strike was starting. So they had some promotional stuff that they were doing, and it was already kind of geared into high gear at that point. Barbie was opening in various places. Margot Robbie was dressing in different Barbie outfits. But there was that grassroots effort made by people who were just having fun to combine, because they just looked at how odd it was that these two movies, Barbie and Oppenheimer, were opening in the same weekend. And again, this was all grassroots. I know that there's some conspiracists out there thinking that it was a, concerted effort, a conspiracy by some studios working together. Believe you me, Warner Brothers, who had just lost Christopher Nolan to Universal, was in no mood to want to help Christopher Nolan and Universal Pictures at all. So there was they wanted to bury him. I think that's one of the reasons why they opened Barbie against Oppenheimer, because I think Oppenheimer had the date first, if I'm not mistaken. But in any case, that's all behind the scenes stuff. What we did see was a lot of people just having fun, making memes, making t-shirts, going to the cinema, wearing pink, wearing, Oppenheimer gear, whatever that is, by the way. And speaking of which, I will have to say, having just spent the last weekend at Dragon Con, Barbie was not only the number one movie of the summer and possibly the year, but it was also the number one cosplay thing at Dragon Con this year. I looked and I looked and I looked, but I did not see a single Oppenheimer cosplay. I know there must have been somebody there as Oppenheimer. I do understand that somebody was dressed as Barbenheimer at Dragon Con, but I did not physically see them, nor have I seen a picture. So I don't know. That's a rumor. But in any case, both movies benefited. Now, did Oppenheimer benefit as much as Barbie becoming like number one and number two? No, but I don't think anybody would have suggested that Oppenheimer should have even been near the top 5 movies box office wise. So I do think Oppenheimer got a huge bump from the juxtaposition as well.
Oh, I think so too. And it's interesting too, because Oppenheimer actually set a record also as the highest grossing movie not to hit number one.
And I also think it's Nolan's highest grossing non-Batman movie. So
it's going to be interesting too, because I think we really have to look at it about superhero fatigue and everything, because I don't think any of the superhero movies other than Across the Spider-Verse did well this year.
I mean, number 1 and 2 and 3 of the box office of the big movies of the summer are superhero movies. So I'm not on that train. I think that there certainly people can look at that, but if you look at the rest of the superhero movies that came out, they're not great. So, if a great superhero movie had come out and was not in the top 10, I'd be worried. But I don't know. I think it's still too soon to call that. But the more people talk about it, the more other people think it's a thing. And then, of course, it just, snowballs. So if that is a thing, then, obviously it's something to keep in mind for next year. But, looking at the box office, and you look at the top 5 movies, 2 of them are superhero movies. So I don't see how that, that tracks.
Well, in truth, one of the movies that are on my personal list of the summer and probably on the year will be one of those superhero movies that didn't do so well. So I'm going to be very interested when we get to that point later in the year, when we do like our top list of movies of the year and such, where if it will still stand or what, because when we usually do 2012 or 2015 or 2023 later in the Geek seat, we usually give lists of our favorite films.
Yeah.
And we part of that is what movies are going to be there and such. And it's always hard because I always forget the movies we saw at the beginning of the year with that also. And so it's just trying to remember all that too.
Not just to look at superhero movies, but a lot of people are, ringing the death knells of Disney as well, because Disney on the outset looked like it was going to be in the top, have the top 5 movies. And instead they are scattered throughout. So this has been a not great movie season for Disney as a whole. So I would say if we're talking about winners and losers, Disney is probably listed more on the loser side, along with Tom Cruise probably.
Probably. It's going to be very interesting to see. So let's jump in with our list and let's take a peek at how we did. Let's jump in. Top grossing films. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Mike Faber, me, said Indiana Jones. Mike Gordon, Indiana Jones. Ashley Pauls, Little Mermaid. And the winner for this one, Matt Sweatman. He predicted Barbie.
I would say I predicted Barbenheimer, but I would be lying. But yeah, I mean, I got lucky with that one. Once I realized what was happening, I said, "Oh, this is going to work to my advantage." As far as the predictions. Yeah.
Well done.
Absolutely. Yeah. I must admit, mine was more wishful thinking than it was actual practical, looking at the box office, because I was just really hoping that they could restore the magic again. But I knew that Barbie had some legs, so to speak, but I did not, I wasn't willing to put my money where that mouth was or where those legs were.
I can touch on that so much, but I want to keep this family friendly tonight. So, I'm trying at least. So we'll work on that one. All right. Congratulations, Matt, on that one.
Thank you.
You deserve it.
That's what we call beginner's luck.
Exactly.
Pressure's on for next year now. You got to get it every year.
If you're going to be riding that horse for the year, you have to be able to take it out, because we're going to be gunning for you, man. We're gunning for you.
Oh, yeah.
Biggest flops. Mike Faber, Transformers. Pretty close. Mike Gordon, Mission Impossible. Pretty close.
Ooh.
Close. Ashley Pauls, Fast X. Did a little bit better than some. And Matt Sweatman, The Flash. Pretty close.
Matt wins again. I mean, out of all those movies, The Flash did the worst.
Yep.
So yeah. I mean, I'll say that Matt called it, because I don't think any of us expected The Flash. Like, even when we reviewed it, my reviews were mixed, but we were all stunned at how poorly it did box office wise.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it was mostly because the actor who was the Flash with it?
I don't think so, but I think there's so many factors in there that I think it's too many to count, but I don't know if there's any one significant one. But I don't know. Matt is the expert. He's the one who called it. So
yeah, Matt, what's it going to be, dude?
I think it's confusion over the future of the DCU or the DCEU. This movie was kind of left in limbo because it was supposed to be a major reset for the DCEU. And since everybody was like, well, does this count? If it doesn't count, why do I want to go see it? And Michael Keaton, interest in him was there, but ultimately it wasn't enough, I think, to overcome I think this was if you say any movie was a victim of superhero fatigue, this was the one I think that it affected the most.
Mm-hmm. No, kind of agree with that. Kind of agree. Well, all right. So none of us really have egg on our face. None of us picked Barbie as the biggest flop. So
yeah, all of our movies were not in the top 5.
No. Okay, so that's good.
And I, even though Mission Impossible, it did more than any of the others, so technically I lost, but I don't think it did near as well as Tom wanted it to do.
Oh,
I think
the first top movie.
I think it got hurt by Barbenheimer more than anything else.
Yeah.
No, I think
too close.
If those movies had came out before Mission Impossible, I think Mission Impossible would have done better at the box office.
That's interesting. Maybe you're right. But I do know that Oppenheimer stole some screens off of Mission Impossible, some IMAX screens, and
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, they just never got them back.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Okay, now let's go on to biggest surprise hits. Mike Faber, Blue Beetle, Blue Beetle did decent. It surprised a lot of people. It's my favorite superhero movie of the summer. It might have even inched out a little bit across the Spider-Verse, which I loved a lot too. So I think so. Mike Gordon, Haunted Mansion. Oh well.
Hey, Haunted Mansion made a little bit more money than Blue Beetle, so I'm still
Well,
over
hey,
you.
there you go. There you go.
Good point. Touche, my friend. Touche.
Winning by that much.
Exactly.
Like, by $500
Of course, next week that'll probably be different, but
yeah. Ashley Paul's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay. Turtles did decent. Matt also said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles also. I think we all did decent on it. None of them blew the box office away. I'll be completely honest with you.
Yeah, none of them made the top 10. But I do think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, at least personally, it was better than I expected it to be.
Oh, completely. I agree.
And I do think that it deserved to be in the top 10.
Yes.
No,
it's a great little movie.
I can't disagree with that at all.
And I think both Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Blue Beetle to an extent, and Haunted Mansion will do well on streaming. Haunted Mansion, especially if Disney releases that in October.
Oh yeah,
that'll be huge in October there. So
I think that was a mistake on Disney's part by not releasing the movie in October.
Well, that was the original plan, but then they switched places with Marvel. So
yeah. So because I think wasn't the Marvels supposed to originally be that weekend?
Yeah, the Marvels was really supposed to be a part of the summer, and then they switched it for whatever reason they did. But so
because of Bob Iger. No.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, he's the guy responsible. So sure.
Oh, of course. All right. 3 movies we were most looking forward to this summer. Me, Across the Spider-Verse, Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible, and I had Asteroid City as an honorable mention because I was really looking forward to that one from the previews and everything. And that one actually probably is my favorite movie of the summer. So overall, I think, the only one I didn't really enjoy all that much was Indiana Jones. I thought it was good. It was better than Crystal Skull, but it didn't live up to the hype that I was hoping for. I built it up in my mind for something spectacular, and instead you got that. But oh well, that happens. Mike Gordon, Indiana Jones, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and Elemental. How do you feel like you?
None of them were. Indiana Jones, as you mentioned, Mike, was disappointing from the perspective that the magic wasn't completely there. But I do think it was better than Crystal Skull. So as far as the way to end the franchise with Harrison Ford, I'll take that over the last one. But I think I think Elemental is underrated. I think that one, I hope that one finds new life on streaming as well, because I do think that's a really good Pixar movie. And people should watch it. People should check it out. And, I was really pleased with it. So I'm not, and Guardians was great. I didn't disappoint me at all either. So.
Okay, cool. Ashley, Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and Indiana Jones. Not too shabby.
Yeah, I do. It's interesting looking back. I will say that Indiana Jones and Guardians both disappointed me a little bit. Like, the more time that passes, like, the less desire I feel to go back and watch them again. I know that Guardians 3 received a lot of praise. I feel like it was a little bit dark, and some of the tonal shifts, I didn't vibe with it personally. And kind of like you said, Indiana Jones, it was great to see Harrison Ford again, but just didn't have quite that same magic that I was hoping it would, especially with, like, I'm a huge fan of James Mangold. So I feel like that partly, like, built it up in my mind too. Like, I was expecting something really spectacular from him, and just wasn't quite what I was hoping for. But I will say that even though my top 3 while some of those are not going to be my favorite movies of the year, I felt like there were a lot of other great little movies that I got a chance to see that, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will probably be one of my favorite movies of the year that I totally didn't expect. So I still feel like I saw some good movies, even if I wasn't as good about predicting what movies were going to be my favorite.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, too, Across the Spider-Verse, you were a little hesitant about as far as you still like the first one better, correct?
I think so. Yeah, I liked both of them, but the first one, there's just something so special about that one to me. Like, it's one of my favorite superhero movies, period. So that might be, again, there's maybe something to dig deeper into about here, like my expectations versus reality, and getting so excited about something and hyping up something so much that you can almost it becomes better in your mind than what it really is. So I do want to see Spider-Verse again once it hits streaming. But yes. So I feel like that's why I always recommend people, like, go see a lot of movies, go see things outside your comfort zone, because you never, as you can see, like me picking my 3 favorites, I did not actually, those weren't the 3 ones I necessarily liked the best. So it's always good to go and explore, and just throw the eggs my way. I'll take them.
I don't think anything you picked, though, really deserved eggs. I don't think any of us have. And then there's Matt. Matt picked Across the Spider-Verse, Indiana Jones, and Asteroid City, actually.
I'm pretty pleased.
Okay.
I'm pretty pleased with all the movies I saw this year, honestly.
Mhm.
I think I know I was probably the biggest downer on Indiana Jones when we recorded the review of it, but I'm anxious to see it again. I'm anxious to kind of, like, some people are like backing off of it a little bit. I'm kind of going the other way with it a little bit. So I could honestly say no movie I saw this year did I come out of there saying, well, I wasted my time or wasted my money. So and the biggest grossing ones, like the one I predicted, it was middle of the road, but I thought it did what it did very well. And Elaine's already told me we're buying it on 4K when it comes home. So so I will be seeing it again, I'm sure.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Anything you say, dear.
Well, I would not deny her. Plus, it's a very good movie. But Oppenheimer is one. I love historical movies, and Oppenheimer. I'm actually reading the biography that came out about 10 years ago now.
Oh, the one they based it on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've got it at work now, and it's my lunchtime reading material. And I'm about 5/6 of the way through, and it's a big book. So I would advise people, if they really if they're intrigued by the real story, there's a few things in there that they sort of took a little bit of a controversial. I'm thinking of the poison apple more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if they want to know the both where that came from and the legitimacy of it, I would suggest they actually read the book itself.
Cool. Well, folks, that's our summer movies that we picked. How did we hit? Did we not? That's the big question. And that's always part of the fun, because we don't wear big robes on our heads trying to be prognosticators or anything like that. We just like to have fun with it. And you know what? I think it was fun picking these movies and going through it and everything. And that's why this is one of my fun episodes to do, because we can make fun of ourselves on this one. And
what would you say is your favorite movie of the summer?
Oof. For me, favorite movie of the summer probably is a tie between Across the Spider-Verse and Asteroid City, because I've seen Asteroid City now 4 times.
Woo!
And everything.
Nice.
Ashley, have you seen Asteroid City?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
She watched it in her review, sir.
Was she in the review?
Yes, she was, because she had never seen a Wes Anderson movie before.
That's right. Cool. I couldn't remember if you had joined us for that one or not. So sorry.
Too many summer movies. Let's see. I'm trying to remember, even what movies came out this summer.
Kind of, sort of. But yeah. And what about you guys? Let's find out what our favorites were. Matt, what was your favorite?
I think Guardians 3. I know it got dark, very, very dark, but it earned it. And I thought it was very satisfying emotionally for these characters that are probably my favorite characters in the MCU. So I think that was my favorite.
Okay. Ashley?
Yeah, I think for me, it's probably between Oppenheimer or Mission Impossible. I know that Mission Impossible didn't do as well at the box office as it was expecting, but I really enjoyed it. Thought it was a good action movie and loved the practical stunts. So those were definitely two highlights of the summer for me, along with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was great fun.
I'm going to be curious to see for the second one if Tom Cruise is going to have to bungee jump out of the space
I
station.
know, like if it didn't, earn as much as they were thinking, what crazy, insane stunt is Tom Cruise going to have to do to get people to see this in IMAX? So your move, Tom.
Exactly. All right, Mr. Mike, what about you, bud?
Mine is between Across the Spider-Verse and Oppenheimer. And Oppenheimer, I did see that in full true IMAX, and it was just a magical movie experience.
That's
seeing
awesome.
that on a huge screen like that, the way Nolan intended, and a different movie for him in a lot of ways, a lot more intimate. Yeah, I mean, it might not be, but none of the historical docs are usually that extremely accurate, but I think that the sentiment was there, and I think it got a lot of people interested, and I don't think they were, I wasn't disappointed. I think it's one of his best movies.
Got it.
And great performances by everybody involved.
Yes.
Oh, very much so. Very, very much so. I enjoyed it, and it was neat to see on the big screen, and definitely if you have a chance, folks, go see that movie on the big screen. It is so worth seeing. And just remember, all the effects in it are all practical. There's no CGI. So it's pretty cool.
He really blew off an atomic bomb.
Exactly.
Only Christopher Nolan.
And Tom Cruise was riding it from the airplane.
I was gonna say, yeah, those two should make a movie together. That would be a wild time.
Look out.
Well,
Exactly.
I just made the connection between that one kid in Asteroid City and Tom Cruise. I think the one who kept daring about, will you dare me to do this? You dare me to do that? That might have been Tom Cruise at that age.
Yes, there you
go. I would be the kid's father. If you say it again, I'm going to break your neck. So it was pretty awesome. Well, folks, definitely, we'd love to hear from you. Feedback at earthstation1.com is definitely the best way to do that. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back in a second, and we will then talk about fall and winter movies. Wow, fall and winter already. Doesn't feel like it here in Georgia. I'll just say that.
Winter, yeah, I know.
Okay, YouTube folks, we're going to do a quickie for you guys as a little bonus. So you get 2 bonuses this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. We talked about what our favorite movie was and everything in the topic and everything. What was your least favorite movie that we went to the movies and you were like looking at your phone within 5 minutes, or you were just like bored as heck seeing this summer? And it doesn't even have to be one that we reviewed on the podcast.
Man. I wasn't prepared for that.
I know. That's why I do it.
I don't think anything I saw in the theater was absolute rubbish.
Right.
Because I hope I'm more discerning than that.
I'm going to throw Judy a little bit under the bus on this one, because also at home, because she didn't go see Asteroid City with me when I went to go see it at the theater. And part of the reason I've seen it 4 times now is Judy had to watch it twice because she fell asleep halfway through it the first time. And it's interesting though. I'm seeing a lot of hate for that movie online and everything on Facebook and everything. A ton of people are not liking Asteroid City, saying it's.
I think it's one of those things that if you're a Wes Anderson, if you're either into Wes Anderson or you're not. Yeah. So if you take and I have seen a lot of Wes Anderson's fans say that it's not their favorite, but I do think that, if you don't like him, then you're not going to like Asteroid City. But, if you do, I think it's mixed results, but I think a lot of it comes from that. I mean, that's the risk you run when you are a more stylized storyteller like him,
Right. No, it totally makes sense. It'll be very interesting. But what about you guys for your least favorite? And it could, like you said, Mike, it could be at home, even something you watched.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just say The Flash.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just have to say The Flash because even though I didn't think it was terrible, it wasn't great. And I think the more I think about it, the less I like it. And I don't think I'm ever going to watch it again. I do think it's, the second least favorite DC movie that came out this year. I think Shazam: Fury of the Gods is worse. But I mean, with all the money they spent on it and stuff like that, some of the decisions that they made, I'm gonna vote for the Flash for me because I just think that it was a big whopping mistake.
Okay. Matt, Ashley.
Well, I famously fell asleep during Indiana Jones. I know.
Wow.
So by default, that would probably make it. But as I said before, I have a tendency to go in on work nights after I've been at work, and some nights I'm just not really up to going to a movie. So I'm not blaming the movie for that one. But I am waiting to own it on 4K. I will see it again, and I intend to stay awake this time. And I feel like I'm gonna give it a better. I can better judge it then than I can right now.
Gotcha. I think that's fair. Ashley, you're up.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I don't feel like I hated any movie I saw this summer. There were some that I maybe disappointed me, but I could still they still had their good elements to them, or where it's just like it's not as much my personal taste, but I can still see the strengths of this movie. Something that I'm really curious to see again is the Barbie movie, because the first time I saw it, I didn't love it as much as I was hoping to, but I think it's just, again, like there was so much hype around it. I got into my mind what it was going to be. So that one is one that I'm really excited to eventually see again, and then see how my perspective shifts now that I know what it is. I've seen it. I know what to expect. So there's some I think that'll be worth for me to give like a second chance to.
Gotcha. No, I don't disagree with whatever everyone said. And there's certain ones I loved more than others. And I'm trying to, break my mind to see, what was worse. And, there's certain ones I liked more, but I have to say probably Indiana Jones for me. There were times it was just like I started like glancing down at my phone. I started glancing, looking at my watch. How much longer is this? Stuff like that. And I didn't expect that for that movie and everything. And I was disappointed with that part and everything. There were parts I loved in this movie. I loved the whole opening 15 minutes, 20 minutes of that.
Mm-hmm. That was super cool.
Was awesome. And there was things I liked about it, but it was just, and I don't blame any of the characters or any of the actors, because they did a great job. Phoebe was amazing in the movie. I liked her a lot, and I wasn't a big Fleabag fan. So, I was expecting her to be the weak point for me, but I thought she was wonderful. I thought she was awesome in it. So, but there was just just different scenes, and it was just like, whatever, type thing. So
to me, it felt longer than Oppenheimer. Like I was watching it in Jones, I felt the length of the movie, versus Oppenheimer. I was like, wait, I've been here for 3 hours. Like, so it was just interesting how, even though Oppenheimer was longer, it felt like a more streamlined movie and held my interest more.
I agree completely with that, Ashley. I don't disagree. All right, YouTube folks, what did you think? Please leave comments below. We definitely would love to hear from you guys. Or if, as we always tell people, feedback@ourstation1.com. Either way, we definitely would love to hear what you thought was your favorite. We'd also want to hear what your least favorite was. And if it's something that we loved also, it's not going to hurt our feelings. We really don't have, that many feelings left after all these years. So it's okay. Or as Darren used to say, apple pies killed those feelings, folks. It really So, All right, let's go back and get into the next segment, folks. All right, folks, it's time for fall and winter movies 2023. This is going to be interesting. We're going to base everything on this off of what we're reading on movieinsider.com. And that's usually our Bible for the summer movies, also, what we use and everything. So, because that goes week by week, and we'll try to not draw things out with this because this could take forever because we're going all the way from the beginning of September all the way to the end of December. And there's a lot of stuff coming out, but also a little caveat with the, everything with the strike right now that's going on. We're recording this on Tuesday, the 5th of September. So, that's when we're talking about this. So movies might be moving around. Movies might be shifting and everything because the studios have a thing with, moving some of these, and rumors going around, some of these movies might be moving to 2024. Hell, there's some movies that are on this list that they're talking about moving just to streaming because they don't have any faith in it. I'm looking at you, Aquaman. I'm looking at you. So, I've been hearing all these different things. So keep everything what we're going to be talking about tonight with a grain of salt. Mr. Mike, ready to take it away, my friend?
Absolutely. And on that, piggybacking off that as well. Want to point out to everybody that we are definitely on the side of the writers and the actors.
100%.
We are
100%.
We are in no way, by promoting these movies, we are in no way suggesting that the writers and the actors should get back to work without a great contract and without what they're looking to get from the studios. And that said too, they've also made it clear, both the actors and writers have made it clear that they're not saying that just because they're on strike and they can't promote these movies or these projects to not see them. So go to the theater, go and support them, go support these movies as well. It's helping everybody. And it will ultimately help the actors and the writers once they get what they are deserving to get. So please support them. Support your local theater, your local cinemas, because they need help as well. It's been tough for them. It's been a tough summer for them as well. So going forward, we just want to make sure that people are aware of that as well. So with that being said, let's start with this weekend coming up, which is September 8th. We've got a third movie of the Big Fat Greek Wedding trilogy being released, as well as, I don't want to say the start of Halloween season, but man, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of almost every week now a horror movie comes out. This is the big horror movie bang 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 stuff, and we've got The Nun 2, which I know very little about. So I think it's from the Conjuring universe, which is pretty successful. But I don't know, Matt, you're kind of shaking, you're nodding your head. Are you familiar with this franchise, or?
I know it exists. I'm confused because it seems like every other horror movie is part of the Conjuring universe anymore. So
it's all connected.
It does seem that way. And I'm confused by this one too, because from the ads that I see, it looks like it just says The Nun. It doesn't look like this is a sequel of any kind, but I think maybe that's intentional as well. But you will not find me. And I do remember seeing the Big Fat Greek Wedding a long time ago, but I did not see the sequel. And I've seen the trailer for the third one, and it looks amusing. But to me, it's a streamer, if at all.
Hi, my name is Mike Faber. We are going to go see My Big Fat Greek Wedding
on opening day.
and when you say you make it sound like Judy will be dragging you.
Kicking and screaming, my friend. Kicking and
screaming. Oh, you're not a fan of these movies?
I actually am looking forward to seeing this because partly because the movie takes place in Greece, and we spent time in Greece last year.
That's cool.
And
cool.
I missed it. I miss it greatly, and it was such a beautiful place to visit. I'm going just for the scenery and for the just the memories, because I'm hoping to get back there someday. And if it can give me some hints, can give me some pointers. And the first two movies were cute. They were cute. And the one great thing about the big fat Greek wedding, it could also be my big fat Jewish wedding, my big fat Italian wedding, my big fat, Christian
family
Irish,
wedding.
Wedding,
Mhm, yeah.
whatever. And that's what made it great and everything, because it fit into any of those.
Mhm.
And I think the second one didn't carry it over as well. So I'm going to be very curious to see what they do with this one. And,
Okay.
but yeah.
Seems like it's been a while. It's like these don't just churn out, right? I mean, this has been, we're talking, I don't know when the first one was out, but it feels like it was out like 20 years ago.
Pretty close, actually, I think. And everything.
So I don't expect either one of these to be huge, or I mean, The Nun might do some if I had to lay money on it, I would say The Nun would probably be the box office winner out of these picks. But certainly going forward, like I said, I'm going to try to hit the highlights here, but if there's any films that any one of you want to bring up, just let me know. But we're going to
say this about The Nun. They did some amazing marketing. They had marketing at Dragon Con this year. I've seen pictures, I've seen videos of faceless nuns, of probably about 50 of them in line in the lobby of the Hyatt, and people going, what the hell is this? This is frippin' scaring me, and everything. And they even marched in the parade this year.
Wow.
So that's viral marketing right there.
I question whether that was viral. I do know that the studios are reaching out to cosplayers and because they don't have actors to help promote things. So I do wonder if that was a studio thing, get a workaround. It's just like, I was at McDonald's and I got some chicken McNuggets, and my sweet and sour sauce says sweet and sour sauce packets as seen in Loki. I was like, okay, so they can't use actors, so they're using sweet and sour packets to advertise their things coming out.
Tastes a little like desperation there, Disney.
It did taste like desperation. Sweet and sour desperation. That's what it tasted
just
like.
Just pay your people.
Exactly.
They deserve a break today, folks. Come on.
Oh, yes, absolutely. All right. So let's move on to September 15th. At this rate, will be like a 5-hour show. September 15th, we've got the big movie, which is the first movie of the season that we're going to be reviewing on this show, is A Haunting in Venice. It's a kind of a surprise because I'm not sure any of us really knew that there was going to be another Hercule Benoit movie. Sorry. Poirot movie to come out, especially since I don't think any of us were that keen on Death in the Nile. So this is a surprise. They are marketing this like a horror movie. They are not marketing this as a Poirot detective movie. So I think that they are not sure about people wanting to see another detective movie either by Kenneth Branagh. But here we are. I'm kind of excited. I'm always hoping for good things with these.
I'm very excited about this. I've read the original books, so I know what's to come if they're going to keep towards that. Because part of
he hasn't yet.
No, I know. Death on the Nile, he threw the book out the window and everything. And I always like to say, if you want to read it, watch a good Death on the Nile. Watch the one with Peter Ustinov, folks. That is an amazing version. I'm glad to see Kenneth back as Hercule Poirot. I thought I'm glad to see the character still on screen. I like his portrayal in all three of the movies. I'm going to like him. He portrays him very, very well, and I'm glad the mustache is back. So that's even.
And I had to laugh when I saw the trailer for this the first time. It started and it was scary. It's like, nope, no way am I doing this. And then up pops Hercule Poirot, and it's like, well, I guess I am doing this. So shout out to my dad who's coming to see the movie with me, so that I don't have to be alone sitting scared in a theater. We can be scared together. So
I'll be holding your hand.
Thanks, Dad.
Well, we'll see. Like I said, the trailer makes it look like it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
We'll see if when we actually go to the movie, if it actually plays out that way. Got a great cast once again. Very excited to see this one. Matt, any feelings about this one?
Yeah, to me, it's kind of like James Bond in that each one stands alone. You can, if the last one wasn't your cup of tea, the next one you'll enjoy. And of course, there's been multiple adaptions of these films. So yeah, I did see the last one in the theater, Death on the Nile. I rather enjoyed it. This is on my maybe list, but I'm leaning towards going to see this one as well.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. So now we'll move to the September 22nd. The two big movies that are coming out, at least the new movies that are coming out, are Dumb Money, which is a Seth Rogen movie, which is about the it's a fictionalized account of what the GameStop, the whole GameStop big fortune lost Wall Street thing that happened, as well as the next chapter in the Expendables movies, featuring Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren and all of that. I've seen trailers for both of these, and I don't expect to be at the theater for both of these. I do think it's interesting because Barbie will be re-released on this weekend as well. It's going to be available on IMAX screens. I guess they feel like neither Sly Stallone nor Seth Rogen deserve IMAX. So Barbie once again is going to claim, I think for the first time, because I don't think she got IMAX treatment much during the Barbenheimer release. So here she is on the big screen with unreleased footage that they're going to show, I think, after the movie's over or in the credits or something like that. So it's going to be some unseen footage as well. I think this will seal the deal. I do expect that Barbie will win this weekend once again, and it'll prove to be the movie to beat for the rest of the year.
I agree completely. I don't think any of these three movies are going to be doing anything. You know, the Seth Rogen movie is interesting. It'll be good to stream. I've not seen one Expendables movie, so
I have seen them, but they get worse. They're pretty expendable, really. And then I think the day after that is when the Paw Patrol movie comes out. And the only reason I mention that is because I've seen trailers for it almost in every single movie that I've seen over the last month and a half. So that'll finally at least be out. So no more trailers to have to watch with that.
Yay. Let me also just say I'm thankful that my daughter is too young to go to the theater, so she doesn't know about this Paw Patrol movie. So we're going to try to keep it that way.
So go ahead.
I was going to say I've seen some things on social media trying to make Saw Patrol a thing.
wow.
Well, maybe. The only other thing I want to point out too, going back to the 22nd too, and I know this is probably on your radar as well, Mike, is that I don't think it's listed on here because it's a re-release, but Stop Making Sense will be re-released into theaters as well, and I think it's going to get the big screen treatment. So I think it's actually going to be released in IMAX as well. So that should be kind of fun if you're interested in the Talking Heads, and I know that Mike and I both are.
Oh, very much so. It's going to be amazing. I actually saw that tour live in Washington between Washington and Baltimore, and it was amazing. It definitely is, and it's truly one of the best concert films you're ever going to see. So I would recommend if you get a chance to see it, folks.
So now we move to the end of September 29th. And as Matt already mentioned, Saw, which I can't even, Saw 10. It's a 10th Saw movie. Will be released on then. I think that's when Paw Patrol goes wide. So that's the sort of Saw Paw Patrol connection. Yeah, exactly. But the movie that I find the most interesting is a movie called The Creator, which I've seen a trailer for. That looks really interesting. It's Gareth Edwards' first movie since Rogue One. And it stars John David Washington, who is in Tenet, of course, the big star of that. It's a science fiction movie, AI related, et cetera, possibly even a metaphor for the ongoing strike that's happening with AI and everything regarding AI. But this one looks like it could be interesting. I am fascinated by this movie. I don't know if I'm fascinated enough to go to this theater to see it, but what about you guys? What about this weekend? Is The Creator interesting enough for you to go see it in the theater?
I'll stream.
To me, the trailer looks really incredible, but for whatever the release date chosen makes me nervous. Like I typically think like end of September is not when Hollywood traditionally comes out with like its big ticket movies that it's super confident about. I would feel a little bit more confident if this was like later October, November. So the release date itself isn't giving me a lot of confidence, but the concept seems interesting. So we shall see.
I don't think it's going to get any premium screens either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how well it will do, but it is one that I intend to see. This type of science fiction movie is right up my alley, especially since one other big science fiction property, which we haven't talked much about yet, has been moved to 2024. I'm going to see this one in the theater.
All right. There is another movie coming out also. There's a movie called The Kill Room coming out that weekend too, with Samuel Jackson, Maya Hawke, and her mother, Uma Thurman, which I think is kind of interesting. I don't know if they've worked together before, but I do find that might be kind of interesting to see. And then we move into October. And like I said, traditionally, this is a horror movie type of month. So we will see how that works for October 6th. Movie Insider still has Kraven the Hunter listed, but we know that that's been moved.
That's been like almost a year, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think to nobody's surprise, I don't think anybody was looking forward to that anyway. The Exorcist, the newest movie in the Exorcist chain. I think that one's got some interest in it because Ellen Burstyn, who was in the original Exorcist, is in it, as well as the recent passing of William Friedkin. I do think that's going to cause some additional interest in this movie. That's probably about it.
It's interesting. They actually moved that movie up a week because of a movie that was just announced to be released the following week that is going to blow the box office out. So we'll get to that in a second.
Oh, yes, I see. Yes, okay. Yeah. What is he talking about? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. So, but I think that I don't know much about. I stopped watching Exorcist movies after. I saw 1, 2, 3, and I saw the fourth one, and then I said, okay, I'm done. So that's all I have to go on that with that one. Yeah, let's move right to October 13th. Lucky 13. We've got the movie that just plopped right in there, which is the Taylor Swift Eras Tour concert film. This I have, even for people who I had no idea were interested in seeing Taylor Swift, I've seen tons of posts on social media about this show. No matter what you might think of her music, the staging of the show looks unlike anything I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, if they can capture that on film, this should be quite the experience.
We were talking about the Talking Heads film and such a second ago. This is probably going to rival, visually at least. You know, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I'll come out and say it, but I might actually go see it just for the visuals and everything, because there was no way in hell I was going to pay over $300 for a ticket to see her at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and such.
I think there's 2 lessons we've definitely learned here in 2023, and it's don't bet against Barbie and don't bet against Taylor Swift. So
yeah, they could be the two that walk away with all the money this year, right?
I would not even be surprised. Like I saw the Taylor Swift movie tickets go on sale, and I sent it to a friend, and she said she was on a waiting list just to buy a ticket for the movie, not even the concert, just the movie here. So
no, the concert's so big it set off the Richter scale in Seattle when she
wow,
there.
That's insane,
because it was an outdoor show, and it's just amazing to think about.
Yeah. So this is, and man, to have it come out right so quickly after, her tour is just amazing as well.
No, it's
Those
amazing
usually take
marketing.
like
It
a
is
while.
great marketing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Especially with a summer that's kind of light. I'm sorry, a fall or winter that's kind of like, we haven't mentioned anything right now that I think is going to be even close to being like in the top 10 of the
Barbie.
year.
Or that, or Academy Award nominations, or anything.
Yeah.
And that now, well, that's a good segue, Mike, because that leads me right into October 20th, the release of the Martin Scorsese movie Killers of the Flower Moon, starring Leo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. If anything said Academy Award nominee on it, so as of the ones we've been talking about, this is that movie, right? I don't know if it's a wide release at this point or not.
I don't think it is, because there's still rumor going around that might also get pushed. Also,
it might get pushed.
Yeah.
It is co-produced by Apple TV. So I do believe that there's a Apple TV date on the way too for it to be released, but it is going to be 3.5 hours.
Oh my.
So settle in once you see this movie. But Martin Scorsese believes that all movies should be seen in the theater. And since he's frequently has movies that are well over 2.5 hours long, I guess he doesn't really care about people's bladders at all. So, so I do think that, but I'm interested in seeing this one. This is based on a real story that happened, a real event that happened. And you've got, Scorsese, Leo, and De Niro. Do you need, if that doesn't make you excited to go see a movie, I don't know what kind of cinema person you are.
I can't disagree with that, my friend.
The following weekend, we have a movie that's got some buzz to it. And to be honest with you, I have no idea why, but it's called Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's a video game movie, my friend. That's why.
I think that's probably it. Yes. This is sort of a nightmare scenario, if you will, at a what is it?
The Chuck E. Cheese type.
At a Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, that's what it looks like, right?
Yes. It's based on the game, because William used to play the game, and he was the one who had to explain it to me. So, and he was basically the androids at Chuck E. Cheese basically come to life, but not human or anything. They're robots, and they gain sentience basically, and start attacking the people and everything like that. And there's good robots, there's bad robots, and it's an interesting thing. And there's been like 4 or 5 versions of the game. So, it's very, very popular. Is it Mario popular? No, not at all. But, it's gonna get crowds. But I don't think it's gonna, be anything huge like, Barbie.
We know if it's coming in at R-rated or PG-13. I would think PG-13.
Let's see. I don't think it's been rated yet, actually. So
yeah, the preview I saw, it looked pretty hardcore, but of course that could be the way it's edited as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason I ask is my son Carter, he's 14, and I think he wants to see it, but I may have reservations if it's R.
He's the perfect audience for it. Truthfully,
yeah.
That's what they're going for. So yeah, it's an interesting movie, but I do think it's going to do well. It's not going to be a banana splits or that thing, like a horror type thing.
Gotcha. One movie that we haven't talked about, and because I was just looking at the schedule, I'm like, when did that come out? And I guess it's already out. Which came out this previous weekend, is The Equalizer 3, which I haven't checked, but I imagine that's doing pretty well.
It won the weekend.
And I think that's probably, at least in September, before Barbie gets re-released, I feel like The Equalizer 3 is probably the movie that is going to be. I haven't seen any of the Equalizer movies, but I understand that they're pretty good. I actually have an interest in seeing them, but I just haven't got around to it. So I am interested. And that one takes place, I believe, in Greece as well, right? Or at least in southern Italy or something like that, right? Where like
in Europe, throughout Europe, from what I've heard.
Yeah, so it looks like that's a thing too. So anyway, we're going to dial back to October, and I think actually that's about it for October movies. And there, at least I haven't seen anything that really is blowing me away. Has there ever been anything that I missed as far as anything you guys wanted to talk about, or?
No, pretty much. October pretty much is going to be a Taylor Swift month, pretty much.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, that, and I think you'll see Exorcist and Saw do some business just because it's October, right?
Yeah, not everyone's a true fan of that. So
right,
I agree completely with that.
So November 10th, we are going to go with November 10th, and November 10th we've got the Marvels. So yes, this was originally supposed to be when Haunted Mansion was coming out, but I think Marvels needed some more time, so they swapped them around. So we've got the Marvels. I'm looking forward to this movie. I've seen trailers for it. I like the three leads. I'm interested in how they're going to use them. I think this is going to be a solid entry. I don't know. I mean, I guess this will be another test of whether or not, superhero fatigue exists. But Ashley, how do you feel about this one coming up? Because it feels like forever since we've been to the MCU.
Yeah, well, I mean, personally, I'm excited because I loved Ms. Marvel, the TV series, just absolutely adored that. I'm so excited to see her again. And I mean, who doesn't want to see like baby Flurkins and all the Flurkins? So like if there are lots of Flurkins in this movie, I will be happy.
Such language you're using,
yeah, sorry,
Ashley.
Sorry,
I had no idea.
Cats, no. But yeah, I am a little worried about the box office on this one, just for the reason that it's a pretty heavy tie-in to a lot of the streaming shows, and I'm not quite sure how much crossover you have between like general audiences. Have they been keeping up with all the Disney Plus shows and all the movies? Are people going to be a little bit lost and confused? So that'll be interesting to see. I'm really curious to see how well it does for them in terms of box office, if people are willing to watch all the shows to go see the movie.
You've got three leads here. That are playing the various incarnations of Marvel, Captain Marvel, Miss whatever, however they're referred to, and two of them made their debut on streaming TV series, and the Brie Larson movie that came out a few years ago that had a lot of unfortunate backlash associated with it. So there is a concern that maybe this movie is going to be handicapped, if you will, right off the bat because of all of those factors. And I will say though that I don't know if people use this as a great resource, and some people may not even know it's there. But if they do have Disney Plus, I do recommend that whenever there's a new Marvels project come out, check out Disney, like they call it the Marvels Legends. And what they do is they put together like 3 to 5 minute packages of reintroducing or telling you, keeping you up to date on what happens with those particular characters that are involved. And I find it extremely helpful because my memory is not as great. But even the characters that I'm familiar with, I just think it's a really cool encapsulation of like what this character has done. Some characters that you think that have only been on the screen for a little bit of time, you realize through the course of these movies have had such an amazing arc. So I do recommend that. I'm sure they will do that for all three of these characters, if not more. I believe Samuel Jackson is in this as well.
Oh yeah.
You do not have to have seen Secret Invasion to watch this movie, so I'm not recommending anybody see Secret Invasion. so that is not a requirement. If anything, just go to like Marvel's Legends and check out those little bits before you see the movie, and that'll get you refreshed. Like to Ashley's point, I don't think you have to watch all of these series and everything just to enjoy this one movie. Matt, how do you feel about the Marvels movie coming out?
I do like the characters, so I'm looking forward to it. One thing that's very different about this movie from most MCU movies is that it's going to be very short, from what I've heard. It's coming in like 94, 96 minutes. That is
one of the shortest Marvel movies.
Yes.
I saw that.
And that could be a very good thing. It does imply that there's not going to be a whole lot of universe tie-ins, which may be a good thing. It's sort of what they've been doing this phase anyway. So whether or not that kind of gives it the image of not being a blockbuster or not, I don't know. But I mean, we can see this movie twice, and what it would take to see Killers of the Flower Moon.
No comment. No comment.
Mike, because I know this is another one we're going to review on the show. What are your thoughts going into the Marvels?
I'm looking forward to it. Let alone for I love the character of Ms. Marvel. I thought that series was wonderful, and I like the characterization of it. I love that you're seemingly getting the same character in the movie. They haven't toughened her up. They haven't made her something that she wasn't, and I'm glad they brought the family back too. And because that was partly what that whole show was about family.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be very, very curious to see. There's a lot of hopes for this one. There's a lot of hope for me. I liked Ms. Marvel. I liked the character of Monica from WandaVision. I thought she was great. And I liked the character she portrayed in the comics. So I'll be very curious to see what they do with all three of these. And I don't want to see any of them have less screen time, but I also don't want it because them having to have equal screen time, it taking away from any of the others too, or taking away from the story. Because I want a Marvel movie with a really good story, folks. I really do. And I think that's what's been missing.
So the other movie that's being released that weekend is probably the first that we're getting of Christmas movies. And that is a movie called The Holdovers, which is a movie starring Paul Giamatti. It's by Alexander Payne, the director of Sideways. And it's about a teacher at a private school. He's the nobody likes him. He's kind of a grumpy old guy, dare say Scrooge-ish. And he has no family, nowhere to go over the Christmas holiday. So he has to supervise some students who are also kind of not in great places over the holidays. And I've seen a trailer for this movie, and it looks like one of those movies that could be like kind of a nice, heartwarming Oscar maybe potential movie, especially for Paul Giamatti. So that one is one that I think folks might want to check out as well.
I'll be curious to see, but for me, that's one of those movies that will definitely be like Netflix or, like a rainy Saturday afternoon movie instead of going to the theater to see.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that's going to necessarily drive people to the theater, but so then on November 17th, we've got I want to say the newest adventure, but it's a prequel, the Hunger Games, Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. That is
worried you're going to talk about trolls.
No, please.
Well, I mean, that's the other trailer that I've seen umpteen times. So yes, the trolls band together. The Trolls movies actually, despite what everybody thinks here, do really well as far as box office wise. So I would not bet against them per se. Certainly, it does look like maybe these two movies are kind of going at, I don't want to say the same crowds, but similar ages, maybe. I don't know. Is there any gas left in the Hunger Game tank, Ashley?
Yeah, I am fascinated to see how this one does, because I feel like there's a lot of like millennial nostalgia for the Hunger Games. Like that was a huge franchise. I felt like it ended on a little bit of a whimper instead of going out on a bang. I have very mixed feelings about the last book. It is the only book I have ever thrown across the room while reading it. So it holds Hunger Games Mockingjay holds that very special title. But I have listened to the audiobook and I found it really intriguing. Before, like I had read the story, I wasn't sure that I wanted to see a prequel about the main villain because he's a really nasty guy, but the book was actually really intriguing. I could see this going one of two ways. It could kind of reignite interest in the franchise, like, hey, it's been a while since we visited this. here's an interesting story to return to, or people could be like, it's been too long, we don't care anymore. So with how everything is weird has been at the box office, it's difficult to predict. But if it gets good reviews, I could see this taking off, especially since a certain other big sci-fi action movie in November, whose shall not be named, has moved. So now it's a little more wide open. So
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, none idea. None.
No,
I have none
I
idea.
don't have the sand
Just-
of thought.
yes. I got some sand in my eyes and some little tears coming here. So
You should put those to the pipe and just recycle them. So
Yes,
that's the way that's the way that's supposed to work.
Yes.
A little worm around here,
yeah.
This is so much for the early bird, right? Gets no worm in this case. Matt, what about you? Battle between songbirds, snakes, and trolls.
Not a battle I'm going to follow all that much, honestly. When Ashley said millennial nostalgia, I never heard two words put together that made me feel so old. It's neither.
That's where we're at now. That's where we're at now.
I now realize like Gen Z is now making fun of me on TikTok. So like it's
Yeah.
So
Mike, what about you?
I'll see what happens. I've only watched the first Hunger Games movie. I probably won't watch this at the theaters. That's why I didn't add it to our schedule. And so pretty much if I'll watch it, it'll be sometime late next year or something, or if I'm, bored at work or something, I'll watch it or something, My boss doesn't listen to the show, so it's okay. Yeah.
I will say, and this is another Oscar buzz, it's probably going to be like, but I've seen the trailer for this one, and this is one of the movies that I think I'm looking forward to seeing the most this fall / winter, and it's called American Fiction. It stars Jeffrey Wright. It's hard to describe, but he's sort of this author that wants to go make this masterpiece of a novel, but he is forced because of financial reasons to sort of dumb down his work, and it becomes huge. I recommend everybody go out and look at the trailer for American Fiction, and I think you will be engaged as well. I do think that this could be good, really good for Jeffrey Wright. I think he's capable, more than capable. I think he's one of my favorite actors, but I think he's capable of actually making the Oscar nomination list for this one. And this one also looks like it could have some controversy to it because it talks about, because he's a Black author and he's doing he's doing ethnic, more ethnic writing that people expect. I do think that this one is something that this is a movie that people are going to talk about as well. This one looks really engaging to me, and I'm really looking forward to this one. So this is one I might even go, while everybody else is seeing Hunger Games and Barbie again for the 18th time and Trolls or whatever, I'm going to sneak in and probably try to see American Fiction. So, all right, November 22nd. This is the Thanksgiving weekend, I believe. And we've got two big ones coming out. We've got Napoleon. Well, maybe big is not a great word to use for Napoleon. No, just kidding. We've also got Wish from Disney. Now, both of these, Napoleon Wish. Napoleon-ish. This is not going to, Barbenheimer, I know that the studios are going to try to recreate that, that magic, and it's just going to be laughable. So we'll see what happens. I do like the Saw Patrol, though. I do think that's kind of funny. Provided that these both open, obviously Napoleon is more of a Oscar nominee type movie. Oscar chances, Joaquin Phoenix is starring as the little French general. And it's directed by Ridley Scott. It's supposed to be based on a project that Stanley Kubrick wanted to film, but never could. So this one has got some real history to it. Cinema files all over the place are waiting for this one, especially to see this one on the big screen. This is definitely one. It's a little guy, but this is, from what I understand, the battles and everything like that. This is one that you don't want to miss from the big screen. What do you guys think about this sort of these sort of entries? Matt, we'll start with you.
Oh, I'm all for these. I love a good biopic, and as large a figure as Napoleon is, we really haven't had a definitive biopic.
Keep the puns going. Keep them going.
Yeah.
Keep them going.
Even though I have heard that a lot of that is kind of not true, but that's besides the point. Yeah, no, I'm all there. And if this thing does drop on time, my butt's going to be in the seat for this one. I'm really looking forward to this one. And I think anybody who enjoyed Oppenheimer, I think this is the next big biopic that's coming out.
Yeah, I think in some ways, Oppie and Nolan proved that biopics are cool, or can be anyway. So Napoleon might get a bump from that too. It might get an unexpected bump from Barbenheimer, which is crazy to think about that, but still. Ashley, what about you?
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to the Napoleon movie for the exact same reasons you mentioned, Matt. It looks epic, looks like an interesting historical figure, maybe see some things beyond just the common facts that everybody knows. And I'm also hoping to see Wish. I think Disney really needs a win this year. And I would like for it to be Wish because I think the animation style looks cool. And hopefully it's a fun, engaging story with some good music. But yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure going to be on it just because some of Disney's stuff has underperformed recently.
Agree completely with that. The movie looks amazing. I saw the trailer recently and I was like blown away by the movie and what it looks like. I know enough of the history, and not just from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but just from reading books. And it was a ton of fun to be able to see that and to be able to learn all about it, and to see it come to life is just awesome. And I think Joaquin Phoenix is going to hopefully get a Best Actor for this one. I really feel it. And if the movie even comes out this year, because that's another one they're talking about that might move. So, it'll be very interesting to see what we get. Wish looks awesome too. Not 100% sure I'll go see it in the theater. That might be a Disney Plus for me, even though, a lot of times I've always felt, like with Encanto, I waited till it came to Disney Plus, and I do wish I went to see that on the big screen and everything. And what was The Thrilling Adventurers or something? The one that came out last year was awesome too. And so Disney puts out some great films that I do wish I've seen on the big screen. I just can't. This one, might not be the audience for this one. That's all. But you never know. So we'll see.
We shall indeed. All right. So then we've got December 1st. We've got Godzilla -1.
Looks awesome. I just saw the trailer for that today.
Cool. I have not seen anything about this, but it's been a while, I think, since a Toho Godzilla movie has been available in the theaters. I don't know how wide a release this is going to be, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this. If it's possible to see a Godzilla movie on the big screen, I'm curious. What else? That's, I think, about it for the 1st of December. I don't know if there's a movie that I think has been delayed. It's not on here, but it's called The Bike Riders. It's about a Midwest motorcycle club, and it's got Austin Butler in it and Tom Hardy and Michael Shannon, and it looks pretty interesting, but I don't know if that one's been bumped or not. So I'm keeping an eye out for that one. So we've got then coming out on December, I think we're skipping to 15th, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got the 15th, which is Wonka.
I am so looking forward to this one.
I tell you what,
Me too.
when I heard about this, and it was a prequel, I was not excited whatsoever. Especially because one of the things that left a bad taste in my mouth with the Tim Burton one, and there's so many things that left a bad taste in my mouth with that movie. Bad chocolate, bad candy, was Tim tried to put some backstory behind Wonka in that movie, and it just didn't work for me at all. So I thought that this was more along the same line since it's a prequel. I finally saw the trailer for it in the theater, and I think it was before Blue Beetle, and the trailer blew me away. We may not be getting a certain sequel movie that begins with D, but we will see that actor possibly in December. I'm glad that it's a musical. The casting looks great. The vibe looks it looks like they just are making, I guess it's by the guy who directed the Paddington movies.
Yes.
So it's got a British feel to it. I just like everything about the trailer. I said, oh my God, this looks great. So the trailer sold me. So I'm hoping to get a golden ticket to go see this one.
I have to jump in here. I had heard people talk about the Paddington movies, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, kids movies. I rented them for my daughter, and let me tell you, those are the most thoroughly charming and delightful movies. They're funny, they're quirky, they're good for families without being the sort of things like adults that just make your brain cells feel like they're going to die. And they're very British. They're very quirky. They're very just kind of like a cozy, fun movie. So the fact that that creative team is involved is actually part of what makes me so excited to see Wonka, because the Tim Burton one made some interesting creative choices, but I think this will be a nice, feel-good, fun holiday movie without being too cheesy.
It looks like this one is taking its cue from the original with Gene Wilder. I almost said Gene Hackman. I'm like, that would have been weird.
That would have been a different take.
Yeah. But Gene Wilder and just ignoring the Burton stuff altogether, which, I think that's the smart move. That's a smart play. And of course, Mike, I know you're already sold on this one.
Oh yeah, very much so. There's something, I love the books. I love the Gene Wilder movie. It's the first movie I remember seeing in the theaters as a kid. And to this day, it's still one of the top of my list for favorite films. But, I didn't, with the Tim Burton version, I almost ran away screaming with that. But this one fills me with so much joy just watching it. And the cast looks amazing in this. And I am really looking forward. It looks quirky. It looks fun. It looks like it's going to be warped and exciting, and it's open to all audiences. And I'm looking forward to seeing that part. So bring it on.
And a few days later, after that, we've got Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom opening up, allegedly.
Maybe.
Or do we?
Well, it is interesting, all right, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Dune 2 was supposed to come out. It's on the cover of some magazines already. We've seen 2 or 3 different kinds of trailers for it. They were already starting to do publicity before the strike, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's been bumped. Aquaman is still on the schedule, and we haven't seen even a photo from this movie.
Trailer.
No photo, no trailer, no poster, no nothing. Now part of that, I think, is maybe DC is just confused. Obviously Amber Heard is in it. And that's got some baggage too. My understanding is that we, despite the fact that I don't think Ben Affleck's Batman exists anymore, thanks to The Flash. I understand that he's in this movie too. I don't know what's going to happen. Jason Momoa can sell, as a car salesman, he can make up for a lot of stuff, right? Like it's like, oh well, I just want to see Jason Momoa kick butt on the big screen for a while. I mean, that's what brought everybody to see Fast X, I think. I will see this if it comes out. I think we will review it on this podcast if it comes out. But if it doesn't come out, I don't think any of us are going to cry tears.
No, not at all. We are not going to lose sleep.
It would be a nice streaming holiday gift from HBO to us all, right? Just to slip this one in and into the streaming service. Hey, Max, here we go. Boom, done, right?
If I may humbly suggest an idea to Warner Brothers, if you would pay your people what you're supposed to pay your people, put Aquaman on HBO Max and release Dune 2 on Christmas. You can do it. Find some joy in your heart. Warner Brothers, you can do it.
So Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, who knows? It might be lost. It might go the way of Batgirl. I'm surprised it hasn't already. I don't know if these are going to come out or not, but this is at the tail end of the year. We've got a movie called Ferrari, which I believe, everybody is familiar with the car. It's an Adam Driver movie, and it's a Formula One movie. If you liked Ford versus Ferrari, this is the Ferrari side of things, I think. And we've got a musical version of The Color Purple coming out. And I've seen trailers for that, and that looks pretty interesting as well. Obviously, these are all Oscar contenders. So are you excited about either one of these movies, Matt?
I am interested in Ferrari, as, again, coming back to the biopic, like that we mentioned before. And Adam Driver is an amazing actor. So I give him the benefit of the doubt. And I just thought of the pun with Driver Ferrari just now as you were saying that.
Nice.
I was trying to think of some way we could get these two together, Purple Ferrari or something,
Yeah, but Ferrari's got to be red though. It has to be.
I'm getting a headache. I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's one that caught my eye. I've got it in my maybe list, Ferrari, but so I definitely will pay some attention to that one.
Ashley, either one of these on your radar?
Yeah, I read The Color Purple back as part of a college class, so I'm not familiar with the musical version of it. So I think that would be kind of cool to see musicals on the big screen, like The Greatest Showman or Les Miserables, things like that have traditionally come out around the holiday time. So yeah, if this one gets good buzz, I will probably make time to see that in the theater as well.
Mm-hmm. Mike?
It's interesting. I didn't even know they were doing a new version of Color Purple until this last weekend, and saw the trailer for it, and it was just like, oh, okay. It looks interesting. Would I run out to go see it? No, not at all. I liked the first one. I read the book, and I think that's the movie that made Whoopi Goldberg. And it'll be real interesting because Oprah's was in the first one. Now
That's right.
Of course, behind this one. So it'll be very curious. I'm very curious to see, how it does. I hope it does well and everything. Ferrari, I'll wait for streaming to see it and everything, but I won't rush out to go see it at the theaters. But it'll be interesting. Probably going, but Wonka is probably, if I have to, I will go. That'll probably be the last movie I go see at the theaters this year and everything. Because if Aquaman doesn't come out, I don't think it's going to. That's my prediction. There's no love for it from Warner Brothers. They just want it over with, basically. It seems like.
I've got the Color Purple's on my radar as well, because I like the story. I read the book. It's interesting. I do know that Spielberg and, as you mentioned, Oprah Winfrey are producers of this. The acting talent is there. I like Taraji Henderson. I think she's really good. And her is making her big movie debut, so to speak. And I got a feeling that this could be for her, for her, literally, what the original movie version was for Whoopi Goldberg. I think her is extremely talented, but I think she's underrated. And I do think and Halle Berry too, or Bailey, who was in Little Mermaid, who a lot of people said was the only good thing about Little Mermaid, is in this as well. And I think this could, I don't know what the music is like. I do know it was filmed in Georgia. I got casting notices for it all the time, but of course I'm not really what they were looking for. I can't sing. That's really what it is. And
Knew it. I knew it.
Exactly. So me and her, we were up for the same part, and damn it, she got the part of Squeak, not me. So darn it. I think this one could be pretty a solid movie, and I do regret not seeing West Side Story on the big screen because of COVID. It just wasn't to be. So I like to make sure that doesn't happen. I would like to support musicals. Seeing them on the big screen, I think is really a good thing. So I'm this one's on my radar. Ferrari probably be second on my radar, but I'm interested in that as well. I like Formula One. I'm interested in the story behind the car, the vehicles, and Adam Driver, is a good performer. I didn't see, did you see that? What was that movie that he did? 62 or something. What was that movie that he came out with earlier about the dinosaurs? Is that, did anybody see that one?
I did.
Good.
Okay.
Oh, you went to go see it?
I did. It wasn't quite as good as I hoped it would be, but
gotcha. He was good in it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't quite what the premise of Kylo Ren plus dinosaurs had built up in my mind, but you can't win them all.
Right. So that's a long-winded way of all of us saying that these are the movies that are coming out that may come out this fall or winter 2023. As you can see, it's a real mixed bag. It's a studio that's playing it kind of safe because they don't know what to expect from this year. Unlike, I think if they had it to do over again, that packed summer where we had one or two movies coming out every single week, I bet they're like, oh man, we should have spaced that out a bit more, because now we're looking at the rest of the year and we may have a hit here, we may have a hit here. But to be quite frank, I think, Barbie wins the year. Ashley, what do you think about like the rest of the fall, winter, the rest of the year? And what is your prediction to be the biggest movie of the year box office wise?
Yeah, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. I'm not betting against Barbie unless something really crazy and unforeseen happens. It's going to be the movie of 2023. I think some of these other movies could do well, but I don't see them challenging it, especially with the ongoing uncertainty of how many of these movies actually will premiere in theaters. There's a lot still unknown, but I think Barbie will do well, and I think Taylor Swift's movie will do very well for a concert type film.
Yeah, the only movie that I see making a pretty significant impact, maybe in the top 5 of the year, but it opens really late in December, and that's Wonka.
Yeah,
if it's as good as we kind of hope it would be. But Matt, what about you? How does the fall winter look for you? Personally, what are you excited by, and what do you think will win the year?
I'm excited about several movies. We mentioned Napoleon, we mentioned the Marvels, we mentioned you've got me excited now to see Wonka. I was afraid that it was going to be a prequel to the
Burton movie?
Johnny Depp movie, but if it's not, if it's not, I'm on board. So that just may have just gone from maybe to definite on Wonka. But box office wise, they're not going to put much of a dent. I mean, the top 10 is pretty solid. Taylor Swift will come in. It's going to come in like a lion, but I don't know that it's going to be good. and I don't know that it's going to keep drawing, and 2 or 3 weeks later, like Barbie did. Barbie won the year. I think that's pretty much over and done with. I think one thing I was wrong in my prediction of Barbie was I did not think anything was going to beat Super Mario Brothers. But I was wrong about that. Of course, I didn't anticipate the whole Barbenheimer phenomenon.
Nobody could.
Yeah.
But that was exciting. It was. I went and saw Oppenheimer first, and when I saw everybody dressed as Barbie, when I saw all the excitement, I saw all the groups of 4 to 5, mostly women, but not just women. It made me excited to go to the movie theater. I felt like I was part of something. I think the last time I really felt like I was part of something was when Black Panther dropped. And it had that same excitement and people going to it like, this is a movie for me. This is a movie that I've been waiting for. And it felt like a celebration. And whether or not Barbie, I said, it's a good movie. It's not my favorite movie, but that may have been my favorite movie going experience was when I went and saw Oppenheimer when we were at the heart of the whole Barbie phenomenon. We actually saw Barbie the next morning, so it was not nearly as crowded. So I don't see anything this fall equaling that as far as experience or as far as money-wise, certainly.
Yeah. Mike?
For me, it's interesting because there's a few different movies coming out this fall I'm looking forward to. Taylor Swift is way up there for me, so it's I'm the perfect.
We know what a I don't even know what her fans are.
Swiftie.
What a Swiftie. We know what a Swiftie you are.
Yeah, I learned that.
You big Swiftie, you.
I learned what a Swiftie was from Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem TV show. That's how much of a fan I am. So, in all truth, though, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to the Hercule Poirot movie. I'm looking forward to Napoleon. I'm looking forward to Marvels. And Wonka is top of my list for the fall. I really, really am looking forward to that. And I'll be very curious to see, how they play out. I don't want to be disappointed with the Marvels. I really don't want to be. I'm going in with a very open mind about the Hercule Poirot, but I'm not expecting much after Death in the Nile. But I am looking forward to, Ridley Scott doing Napoleon looks just so fucking awesome and everything. So, you know what? It's going to be fun. I'll love going to the movies. Number one movie, biggest movie this year is going to be Barbie. There's no if, whats, or buts about it. And I don't think anything's even going to come close this year. And it's going to blow people away, how much it's doing and everything. And then just wait till it streams, how popular it's going to get. And everything. So it's going to be very curious to see, though, folks. Definitely. So, Mr. Mike, what about you?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got a Scorsese movie. We've got a Ridley Scott movie. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing that Jeffrey Wright American Fiction movie. I think there's a lot of interesting things happening. The Marvels I'm looking forward to as well. I think it's not going to be a dull fall/winter, but yeah, nothing jumps out at me as saying it's going to be a contender to even come close to Barbie nor Super Mario Brothers, which means that, be prepared, everybody, because coming up now will be all movies based on toys and video games. So the superheroes are over. I mean, they're going to be still superhero movies for sure, but most of the movies now that Hollywood's going to bank on will be toys and video games. I see that for sure. But it's going to be fun. I know that we have selected about a handful, I think 5 or 6 to review on the show this year. So, the rest of the year. So that'll be fun. Always look forward to doing that. So, I am looking forward to it. So that is our fall winter wrap up. There are many movies. We tried to pick up on the highlights, and of course we're using one one list of movies that may or may not come out. So if there's anything out there that you guys are excited about that we've missed, that we just completely ignored in our coverage, please reach out to us, let us know, and we'll try to see if we can talk about it later, because we want to mention and talk about all these movies. We certainly don't want to miss something. We don't want to have egg on our face again, even though we're not really doing a competitive thing this year. Although who are we kidding? We're always competitive.
We'll have snowballs in our faces this year.
Exactly.
Like snowballs.
Snowballs that smell like pumpkin spice. That's
oh,
boom, right in the face. That's
what like, bring it on.
I know. I love me some pumpkin spice. So
that's what we'll get. So cool. Well, we look forward to covering all these movies with you and talking about them later. It's been an honor to do this with you guys for the summer. Thanks, Matt, for joining us for this summer. We really appreciate having you along for this ride. And we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to close out the show.
Okay, YouTubers, real quick. It's interesting. The fall's still up in the air. It is kind of like all over the place. What's going to come out? What's not going to come out? And it's going to be interesting to do and see. Is there, let's shoot for a little TV talk real quick. Is there any TV series you guys are looking forward to coming out in this fall?
Yeah. Well, in addition to Bosch, which is coming out in October. Obviously there's not a lot of new shows, but Loki, we know we're getting another Loki series. We're getting the second Loki series. We're getting another Bosch series in October. I am loving Ahsoka right now. So right now, TV wise, I'm good. I don't know what the schedule is like for the rest, like for November or December. I think we're getting into some territory that's like, they're not really sure what's coming out, but those are things I'm looking forward to.
Come on, right behind me, dude. Right behind me.
Doctor.
60th anniversary.
Do we have dates on that yet?
Not yet. It's November. That's all we know.
I also say
if it's going to be 3 nights in a row, or if it's going to be over 3 weeks. We don't know yet. That's the thing. BBC is so playing it close to the chest. I don't even think they know. And and that's the problem with it is, and the cool thing is we are also getting a Christmas special for Doctor Who. So that's been officially announced, and that's going to be with Ncuti as the 15th Doctor. So it's going to be pretty awesome to see what we're going to get.
I also know that on Netflix, sometime I think in November, we are getting a sequel to Chicken Run from the Aardman folks, and this one does not have Mel Gibson in it.
Thank God.
I think Rocky is being voiced by Zachary Levi in this one. I think that's a lot of the other voices are the same, though. I'm not sure. I haven't done a comparison, but anytime Aardman does something, I'm there. So Chicken Run: Dawn of the Nugget, which is on, which is going to, I think it's expected in December on Netflix. So
Ardent, I'm looking forward to, and I think they're pretty amazing, what they've done. And I don't count it out that it's not going to be great, but I'm not holding my breath either, because they've done some not so great stuff also. So
yeah, well, this one's not being in theaters, so that's kind of like weird. It's like, oh, it's just going straight to Netflix. Okay, so who knows? But
so Matt and Ashley, anything you guys?
Talking about Netflix movies, one that's was originally in production to be a Star Wars film, Rebel Moon by Zack Snyder, supposed to come out in December, and that's one that I got a lot of attention on.
I am also really excited for the possibilities with Rebel Moon. The trailer looks super intriguing. This very expansive world, something that's not attached to an existing IP. I'm always on board for new and creative sci-fi and fantasy. So I really hope it's good and that it could develop even to something more if it's popular and is received well.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. I'm looking forward to Lower Decks is getting a new season. And so, Mike, this is your chance finally to get caught up and finally find out who those characters were. And it's gonna be interesting to see, because after this, I don't think we're getting more Star Trek this year till sometime next year.
I think that's it. Yeah.
And so it'll be very interesting. Other series, the only reality TV series I really love and have loved since the very beginning has been The Amazing Race. And we're getting a brand new season in late September, I think. And it's going to be 90 minutes an episode, which is pretty awesome. And they're going, since COVID has lifted a little bit, they're going back more to a more traditional way of running the race, which is pretty awesome. And so what that means is they're going to be doing commercial flights again, that you have to find your own flight, that you have to find your own means of transportation. And, there's going to be more dealing with general public and everything, because for the last couple seasons, because of COVID, they had very tight restrictions and they had to limit the number of countries they went to around the world. And it's still been fun to watch, but it just wasn't the same. So I'm excited about this because there's more chance of crap to go down. So it's tons of fun. And that's always one of the reality shows that I wanted to try to someday do and everything. And my dream was always to run it with William or something like that. But I'd probably still be the first one, eliminated, but that's okay. I could say I've been on it, So, but yeah, so that I'm looking forward to also. But further out, I don't know what's coming out, what's in the can already. So I'm going to be very curious to see. And, I've already mentioned Doctor Who. So, counting the days, we like it so much. We do a podcast about it. Check out our Station Who. So while we're at it. So there you go.
One other series that, because I had mentioned Mel Gibson not being in the Chicken Run movie, but he will be on a TV series, which might be of interest to you, Mike, because starting in September 22nd, he will be in the prequel series, The Continental.
Yes.
Which is from the world of John Wick. And that is going to be on Peacock. So if you're a John Wick fan, you want to know all about The Continental, he will be in that series. It's a mini. It's quoted as a mini series. I'm not sure exactly how many episodes it is or whatever, but
it'll be very interesting to see. But it's going to be fun to see that series and how it ties into the movies and everything, and explain, the whole assassin lifestyle and the whole underworld. So could be fun. Definitely.
There's also I think at the end of this month, there's also a Boys spin-off series called Gen 5.
And I think Boys is still coming too. So,
maybe, yeah.
Because I know it's all filmed. So we'll have to wait and see. But yes, I know that we're getting the Boys sequel, the prequel.
And we're getting more, I don't know if it's already happened. Are we getting more Invincible as well?
Yes.
Okay.
4 episodes, I think, are going to drop. It's not very many, but I think I got like 4 episodes that are going to drop in a month or two.
Yep.
I still need to watch the first season of that. So.
Oh, have you read the books?
I am semi-familiar with the books. I have not read them all. No,
because there's something at the end of the first episode that blows the whole story wide open for you. And so that's all I'm going to say about it, because I don't want to spoil it, because it's like the oh shit moment of the series. So oops, we just got the explicit tag, damn it.
No, I think we're allowed one. Allowed one, so.
We're still PG-13, so it's okay.
There you go. Shh, nobody tell anybody.
No one listens or watches, so I'm not really worried.
They haven't made it this far.
Oh, we're almost coming on 2 hours, folks, so let's cut this sucker out. All right, so that's going to wrap up another episode of the Earth Station 1 podcast. I want to thank everyone for sticking with us for this extra long episode this week. Everyone, thank you, as always, from the bottom of our hearts. We do really appreciate you guys. Matt Sweatman, thanks for being the big winner this week. We do appreciate you.
Thank you. I need to reward that old man who looked like me in a DeLorean, who had his copy of the Box Office 2023 Almanac that helped with my predictions. He really he really helped me quite a bit to win this.
Well, it's not only is it beginner's luck, but because you won, you're not going to be able to join us ever again.
Nope, never.
Oh no.
We can't have you showing us up every year.
No, exactly. No. I want to see what he does next year, because if he does it next year, he's cheating. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Do you anything you want to shout out about, sir?
Just want to say, and this is nothing unusual, but my wife Elaine and I went back to Dragon Con for the first time in 12 years. And we had a blast. It was fun to go back. We sort of didn't try to get too heavy into it, too late at night, too big on the party side, but we saw a lot of old friends. We got to hear a lot of opinions that it was nice to hear a different perspective on things than what I would be getting otherwise. And I think it's safe to say we're back to Dragon Con for good. So
that's cool.
Yep.
That is awesome. Congrats, my friend. And Ashley, you've made it through another one, my dear.
Thank you. Always fun. Even if I don't nail my predictions, it's still fun way to spend an evening with you guys. So thanks for letting me be a part of this.
Anything you want to shout out about?
Yeah, I just wanted to a shout out and thanks to everybody that attended Dragon Con and was posting pictures and social media updates. I've only been able to attend Dragon Con once. It was an amazing experience with a 2-year-old at home. It's probably going to be some time before I get to Dragon Con again. So I sincerely do appreciate everybody who takes the time out to share their photos and their experiences. It's cool. It makes me feel a little bit like I'm there. So thanks for spreading the Dragon Con love on social media, and looking forward to coming back again one day.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And Mr. Mike, you survived Dragon Con. It's good to see you upright.
I'm this hit chair is the only thing holding me up. As always, it's my pleasure to be on the show, of course, and to talk movies. It's great fun, and look forward to this episode in particular every year, even if sometimes it's a little embarrassing, but it's always fun. As far as Dragon Con goes, this was a bittersweet Dragon Con. There were people there that, I should say there were people who were not there this year, so it made it kind of odd. Mike, you weren't there, so it was kind of odd. There were other people who opted not to come, and then of course there were people who couldn't be there, and that made it odd too. But I do want to thank everybody at Dragon Con at every level. From the higher ups like Rachel and the track directors and Jamie, who runs Comics and Pop Artist Alley, to the track directors. I was on 8 panels this year. They were all really, really fun and interesting. People that I shared the panel space with were all amazing. And the people who came and participated in the panels were incredible as well. Everybody who stopped by the table. The Dragon Con Report podcast got a lot of love. I think every day I had about 4 or 5 people coming up to me saying how much they loved that show and how much they really appreciated the show. Jenn and I got a chance to meet, which is not always the case. So we got a chance to finally to see each other. I mean, we've met before, but we got a chance to hang out for a few minutes before she went off to do her stuff and I went off to do mine. I never did see Channing. She experienced the same thing. So everybody who listens and watches the Dragon Con Report, we hear you and we appreciate your thoughts. And I blew through a lot of ribbons and I spreaded the word about the Dragon Tales book, which a lot of people were happy to hear about. And I look forward to getting that book out there so that people can experience it.
That is awesome. That is awesome. From what I've heard from everybody, they've had amazing times, not that much negative, and hopefully everyone stays safe from con crud and COVID, because I do know a few folks who went to the con and already have tested positive. So it's going to be hit and miss for a lot of it, because there were not a lot of masks at that show from what I saw. So just be careful, folks. And, we love y'all. So as we always like to say, and next, starting to prepare for Dragon Con 2024. You only have another 360 days, folks. Come on.
I'm sorry that I missed seeing you in the lane, Matt. That would have been fun. Ashley, of course, you're always missed, but Mike, man, there wasn't a day that went by that people weren't asking about you as well. And I know a lot of people were posting about like how much you were missed as well. So your absence was definitely felt at Dragon Con this year.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone who did that. And I do appreciate everybody who reached out and, hey, are you here? Where are you? What panel are you in right now? Stuff like that.
I just told people you were on different panels. Like, exactly. Oh, you missed him. He's on this panel over here.
Yeah, exactly. He's talking with the pro wrestling track right now. He's talking to the So now we actually went up to Asheville, North Carolina, for the weekend, and we had a blast. We went to actually. Judy and I went with Mary Ogle and her sister Barbara, and we just had a great time. And we went to, you had to go to Biltmore if you go to Asheville, and it was just a ton of fun. And we explored the areas. We had an amazing cabin up there, and it was just a great time. And the weather was beautiful the whole time we were there. And I did miss Dragon Con. We actually were caught a couple times watching Dragon Con TV in the evenings at the cabin, and we missed it. And if we'll be next year, still up in the air if we'll go or not. We'll take it as it comes. It's just a lot of interesting stuff going on in the world right now, and we got a lot of projects that are in the works. We got some new projects coming out, and I'm just a busy person. What can I say? I don't like sitting around just doing nothing. So it's just it's going to be interesting to see. Yesterday, I literally stayed at home, and on Labor Day, I chilled, and we got to play for the first time in quite some time, I got to play with my Oculus and actually started playing Vader's Quest, which was actually a ton of fun and everything. And I was having a blast. Before I knew it, like 3 hours went by playing it. I was just like, what? No way. So, it's a time sucker, but you know what? It's a ton of fun to do. So definitely, have fun with the type of stuff you got in life and just always appreciate it. That's my shout out for the week. Just appreciate life and everything that's out it. And, there's tons of fun and there's tons of good things going on for everybody. Thanks for listening to Earth Station One. We do appreciate you guys. And thanks for listening to this extra long episode and sticking around with us. Always remember, we couldn't do this without you. If you want to support the podcast, please check out our Tee-Public store. We still do have the Darren t-shirt up there. And remember, any money we make off that t-shirt, we're not pocketing it. It's going to charity. And it's going to go to, the charity that Darren chose for us. And can't believe it's already over 6 months that he's been gone from us. And
it just feels like yesterday. As well.
We actually, when we were at the cabin, we even watched the walking tour with Darren and I, and it was just like weird as heck watching it and knowing he's gone. And, definitely do it if you want to do it for yourself, get a t-shirt. But, if you want to do it for charity and help out a great organization. And we definitely, want you guys to, remember Darren, because I did see a couple pictures of people were wearing the Wonder Warrior t-shirt at Dragon Con. So definitely. And a big shout out to the LGBT ball that they have at the con. They actually dedicated a few portions of it to Darren. So bravo to that, so definitely check it out. You can find our Tee-Public store at the top of the ESO Network page or the Earth Station One page. There's a link to the Tee-Public store, or just go to teepublic.com and type in ESO Network. You can find us. Also, remember, if you want to listen to the show before the rest of the world, why not join the ESO Network Patreon? For as little as $1 a month, you can help support us here on Earth Station One. It's not that hard, folks. And, we have different levels. Different level people get different, gifts and swag and type of stuff. And we got some new stuff I'm designing right now for the network. So we'll have some stuff coming out real soon that'll be exclusive to our Patreons. And of course, there's an exclusive podcast for the Patreon folks, and it's called ESO Network Board Silly, where the Network Board comes to you monthly and talks about all kinds of goofy stuff, whatever is on our mind. I have a feeling Dragon Con is going to come up in the next episode. I just don't know why I think that. So should be very interesting to see. Check it out. Patreon.com/ESO Network. We want to hear from you guys. Write us anytime at feedback@earthstation1.com. Remember, you could also find Earth Station One wherever fine podcasts are found. And now Earth Station One is up on Pandora. So definitely check us out up there. And we are also on Sirius XM Radio. So you could definitely check us up there too. And I'm still trying to find more places to find us because I want people to listen, please. Also, we're up on YouTube. And if you've listened and watched us for this long, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And, if you stick with us this long, please rate and subscribe. We would definitely really appreciate it. And ring the bell at the top. We definitely would like that. That lets you know we come out now once a week. And you can hear us and watch us wherever you can. So definitely would appreciate that. On behalf of myself, Mike Faber, of course, Ashley Pauls, Mr. Matt Sweatman, and Mike Gordon, thank you very, very much as always. We will see you here next time on the Earth Station One podcast. Peace. And we are done. Boom.
Boom.
You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.